Welcome to another episode of Just Cooking. I'm your host, Bassam Al-Alawi, aka Be The Maker on Instagram of Darsin Cafe at the Bahrain National Museum. Boy, do I have a dish for you today. This Ramadan, you have to make this chicken. It's technically a beautifully golden roast chicken on a bed of zucchini, potatoes, mushrooms, thyme, garlic, and a bunch of new flavor elements that I'm hoping you're gonna love. So let's begin basically. I have some freshly washed zucchini over here, which I'm gonna move gently without, turning this into a giant accident. And I have some mushrooms. These mushrooms have not been washed. I technically took them out of the packet. I gave them a brush with some paper towel. I don't want them to absorb any liquid from the washing process. They are a flavor sponge. Whatever you're gonna put with these is the flavor you're gonna get in the dish, and you don't want to dilute that with any water. Okay, so I'm gonna move these to the side because what I'm gonna do is chop them up. I have potatoes for this dish, but what I've done, if you can see, is I've parboiled them and I let them steam so that all that moisture is out in the air and the outside is nice and dry. That way you get really crispy potatoes, ladies and gentlemen. I have a bowl here, and what I'm gonna do is technically chop up all my vegetables, put them in here, and then create a marinade, pour that on top, kind of massage all those flavors in here, and all of these like vegetables, the potatoes are gonna absorb all that flavor, and then it translates in the dish. So let's begin. I have some mushrooms here, and all I'm gonna do is chop off the ends, which can be a little stemmy, a little tough and fibrous, cut them in half and throw them in here. And I've mentioned that this dish, or this chicken, like basic chicken recipe, can be modified in different ways, different spices, whatever you want. Now I'm gonna marinate this chicken on camera. What I've done is basically pre-marinated this chicken that I've left in the fridge because I want all those beautiful flavors to kind of infuse in there. And I'm not gonna chop, and by the way, if you see these like brown bits, that's not soil. It says these are button mushrooms. These I've chosen from the Netherlands. I didn't go to the Netherlands. But we've imported these basically, and you can find them at any major supermarket chain. And I like these specifically because they're very nutty, which I find lends itself well to this dish. I'm gonna chop off the ends again. And some of these I'm gonna keep whole because I like whole mushrooms, and some of these I'm gonna chop in half. Now, the thing with this dish is I am gonna be using zucchinis, and I'm gonna keep the skin on. I find they hold their shape better, and plus the color is beautiful. What I'm gonna do is chop off the ends, with freshly sanitized hands. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna chop it, or cut it, more like chop it, right in the middle. And you can keep these as whole or as small as you'd like. Let's do a variety of sizes, but try and keep them as even as possible so that they cook evenly in the oven, okay? I'm gonna dump those in there, and I'm not gonna use all of these because it's a lot of zucchini, but I do like roast zucchini. It is one of the best things to taste. I think one more is perfect. Gonna set these aside right there. All those little bits that I don't want. These can go in the compost bin if you have one, or you can throw them in the organic waste bin, whatever you prefer. Chop those in half, cut them, there you go. Nice big chunks. The bigger the chunks, the more people can eat. All right, cut that in half. Beautiful, they're looking great. Oh, fell out. Gonna take our potatoes. Again, these have been parboiled. I'm gonna add them in here, right? And it's okay if they get a little beat up around the edges, because all those like edges there, the broken bits, they kind of crisp up, right? Beautifully in the oven. So when we're back, I would have chopped up all these mushrooms, and we're gonna make a marinade. We're gonna pour it on top, and then we'll get to our chicken. See you in a bit. So I have my vegetables. I've put them in this nice bowl over here, and we're gonna make that very quick marinade to go on those vegetables, kind of mix them up, and you get all those flavors infusing everywhere. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my cup measure, and I have some soy sauce here. I am gonna salt this, and I will taste it as I mix this. So just 1/4 of a cup of soy. I don't want too much soy as it is relatively salty, right? And then I have some balsamic vinegar. Now the balsamic vinegar, you're gonna go for 1/2 cup because this is the sweet element of the dish. See, as it cooks, it gets really sweet, and you get that sweet, salty, garlicky flavor that you really like. I've decided that you really like, right? So I'm gonna set this to the side, right there. And what I'm gonna do is add pumice olive oil, not extra virgin olive oil, because this is gonna go into the oven at a high heat. And the amount of olive oil is just not too much, about 1/2 cup of beautiful olive oil. It might be pumice, but it's still good quality, so make sure you have that covered. I have some thyme leaves here, and these are one of my favorite herbs to go with grilled or roast chicken, or even fish at times. Also lamb, you know what? It's a great overall herb, right? I'm gonna just pull it off the stem, like so, and I'm gonna put some whole pieces in there and take them out after it comes out of the oven. Oh, this is turning to a shower of thyme. Why not? So I'm gonna just pull them off the stem, like so. You know, hold it up top, pull downwards, and you have the leaves beautifully ready into the marinade, right? And then a few big sprigs. Yes, this is called a sprig of thyme. I'm gonna just dump them in there. Lovely. I have a spoon. I'm gonna salt this just a little bit. And I'm using pink salt today. It's less salty than sea salt. It has residual elements in it that I really like, you know, all the iron, all the manganese, magnesium, all that beautiful stuff that you want in your food. And I have some black pepper, gonna add a bit of that. Once I'm done, I will give it a taste. And let's do that. Give that a mix. And this is almost like a salad dressing, you guys, and that's okay. It tends to cook. Salad dressings do not cook. It's thickened up nicely. You have droplets of soy, you have droplets of balsamic vinegar, and that beautiful olive oil. Now, I'm gonna give that a mix, use a clean spoon, and give it a taste. Beautiful. What I'm gonna do though, it does need more salt. Do not be afraid of the salt. You've got a lot of vegetables in there, but if you need more, you can add at the end. Okay, I'm not gonna use that spoon. New spoon, give that a mix. That looks lovely. Now, the only thing that's missing in here is a touch more acid and some garlic. Got some garlic here, and I'm not gonna like mince these very finely and be very finicky about it. I want them as whole pieces. I'm just gonna break this up, and when we're back, I'm gonna put them in here, and we're gonna be good to go. Pour it on top of those vegetables, massage everything, and start the chicken. See you in a bit. So basically, I've kind of broken up that clove of garlic. Just gonna give it a nice smash on top. That is a loud process. Make sure your garlic is not sprouted. It affects the flavor. It's not as great. And you can peel off some of that paper. I don't mind peeling it after it's cooked. It's okay. I'm not gonna keep them though all the way peeled because then they'll start to burn. That kind of papery cover allows it to steam and caramelize, and it's really delicious. Just gonna give them a whack though. Just whack that, and this one too. Set them to the side. I'm gonna drop them directly in my marinade. So I got my lemon here, and what I'm gonna do is just zest some into this beautiful marinade. And be sure not to get the yellow part. That stuff is bitter, but you want the aromatic. All those essential oils are in the yellow of the skin. Okay, I think, oh, look at that. It's beautiful. It's gonna give it a burst of freshness. But what I will also add is the actual juice of half a lemon, using my hands as a makeshift sieve, right in there. That's a nice burst of acidity. Set this to the side. Give that a strain. And now we're done. That's our marinade, ladies and gentlemen. Give it a nice shake. I'm gonna put on some gloves because I don't want all that oil and salt and garlic to kind of cover my hands. So I'm just gonna pour this right on top. I mean, look at that. Lovely. And what I did while I was boiling the potatoes, I made sure that the water was salted just a little bit, because potatoes tend to absorb a lot of salt and you don't want that. So I'm gonna just put on my gloves and I'm gonna give it a nice massage. Now, for the chicken, you guys, this is like roasting chicken 101. You cannot roast a chicken while it's cold, like straight out of the fridge. You need to keep it at room temperature for at least an hour, 2 hours, you know? And it's not gonna kill you because it's gonna roast at a really high temperature. I think one hand is good enough, you guys. So I'm just gonna toss this around. Look at that. The color is already beautiful. The smell, it's vinegary, it's salty, it's slightly sweet, it's great. And you can already tell the mushrooms are absorbing all of that beautiful liquid. Now, I think that looks pretty well coated to me. Let that sit a little bit. We're gonna put it, or pour it basically, into this baking dish. I've chosen a very sturdy baking tray. This has seen a lot of action, you guys. So don't mind that it's a little beat up. Pour all those beautiful vegetables in there. I mean, look at that. Already, spring, summer, you'd want to eat this in Ramadan. So, move this around. This is the perfect quantity that I've gauged for this baking dish, and the chicken is technically going to sit on top. And this is going to act like a sort of truss, keeping the chicken above the sauce so it cooks evenly all around. Speaking of that chicken, let's prepare it. So, I have the chicken right here. This is a fresh chicken, but it is not the one that we will be using for this recipe. But I did want to show you how I season it, right? The reason I'm not using this one is I told you in the beginning, I need to rest this overnight in the fridge so that it absorbs as much flavor as possible. But what I have here is some white pepper powder and garlic powder. That's it. I'm not doing anything crazy with this chicken. And perhaps a tablespoon and a half of the salt. And again, I'm using pink salt, and that's okay. You can use whatever salt you have. I just don't recommend iodized because it's a little bitter. So that's about a tablespoon and a half. Tablespoon, half. Mix that up a little bit. Perfect. And what I'm gonna do is generously coat the chicken, okay? You want that marinade to go everywhere. And this is a dry marinade. Some people like, more wet marinades, and that's okay. But I like a really nice crispy outside and a juicy inside. And this is, I find, in my humble opinion, the best way to make that happen. All right, I think, and I'm gonna do the other side as well. All right, I'm gonna touch this chicken, but I'm gonna be washing my hands afterwards. All right. Once you touch the chicken, do not touch anything else, right? You need your hands to be nice and washed. Otherwise, you risk contaminating different surfaces, different whatever. When we're back, you're gonna see the one-day-old chicken, and I'm gonna explain why it looks the way it looks, which is awesome, by the way. And you're gonna understand what I mean. See you in a bit. So basically, this is my one-day-old marinated chicken, right? And it's been absorbing all the flavors. It does not smell like chicken, if you know what I mean. It smells like that garlic, that white pepper, and it smells perfect. Now, the thing is, you see that the skin is slightly translucent because it's dehydrated in the fridge. And it's also been taken out about an hour before so that it gets to room temperature, which allows it to cook evenly. Now, I've trussed the chicken roughly. There was some excess skin here. I just kind of ripped it off and tied those legs together. Hopefully they won't open up as it cooks. And the reason we do this is to keep it as uniform in shape as possible so that it cooks evenly. If the legs are dangling around in the air, they're gonna burn, and you don't want that. I'm just gonna tuck those unsavory looking wings beneath the chicken, all right? And the reason is those tips burn and then it just flavors the chicken with that taste. You don't want that. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, wing. There we go. Wing is nice and tucked. Potatoes, all those vegetables are acting as a truss. They're lifting the chicken. The only thing we're gonna do now is take a tiny bit of vegetable oil. You can use vegetable oil. I like vegetable oil. Butter tends to have some moisture and it stops the skin from crisping, though it has a beautiful flavor. You can mix a bit of this with a bit of butter, whatever you prefer. And I'm just gonna gently pour just a little bit of that. No more, that's it. And kind of massage it all around the chicken, making sure that it's coating all sides so that we get nice, crispy, and even skin. There we go. I think that's looking nice and shiny. And there you have it. What I'm gonna do now is stick this in the oven for 200 degrees Celsius for about 55 minutes. If you're not sure, I'm sure that it's gonna be cooked because it's rested at room temperature. If you're gonna do it directly from the fridge, you gotta make sure to have a meat thermometer and check that the inside temperature of the meat is about 65 degrees Celsius or about 70 degrees Celsius. Nobody wants to eat raw and unsanitary chicken. So let's stick this in the oven and I'll see you back here in about 55 minutes, 50 to 55. Well, hopefully this will be beautifully golden and ready to serve. See you in a bit. So we've put our roast chicken into the oven with all those beautiful vegetables, all that nice marinade, and it is just ready. I got a little scorch mark on the top, but that doesn't mean it's inedible. It just means you got more crispy skin. So let's take it out of the oven. Put on your oven mitts, ladies and gentlemen, because this is gonna be hot, literally. All right, so I got these and I'm wearing them the wrong way. Okay, well, right way around. Look at that. Beautiful roasted chicken, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, that just looks wonderful. Can you see this on camera? Can you see this on camera? Now, ideally, I wouldn't have that little dark mark over there, but it happens. This is in my oven. We will improvise. Now, this chicken has, I mean, if you can hear the sound, listen to this. That is crispy skin, ladies and gentlemen. That is exactly what we want for this chicken. And if you don't have a thermometer, right, you can always cut this section of the chicken, and if the juice runs clear, that means the chicken is ready. I will do my best now to kind of carry this without damaging it too much and laying it gently in the middle right there. And what I'm gonna do is layer all these beautiful vegetables around it. Now, you can cut up this chicken, separate the breast from the bone, but I like to keep it nice and whole, especially for presentation. Why not? I'm gonna use this wooden spoon to kind of scoop up all those beautiful vegetables right there. I'm gonna lay them around. Make this as aesthetically pleasing as you'd like, because it is delicious. All that sauce in the bottom, you can strain that out and then make a gravy out of it, or you can spoon it on top of the chicken. I mean, I can already smell the lemon, the garlic, the thyme, that beautiful olive oil. I'm gonna coat these vegetables in it a little bit. There you go. And all those like inedible thyme kind of sprigs, you can pick those out once you plate everything. And there we go. That is my balsamic, soy, everything under the sun, mushroom, roast chicken in the oven, beautifully golden, beautifully crispy. Oh my God, I love layering vegetables around chicken. There's something so comforting. And when you cook this dish, the smell just permeates your house. Everybody can smell it, anybody coming in, anybody going out, and they're like, what is that? We need to have a taste. So I'm gonna layer these all around like so. Now, remember, the way I cook this chicken is I made sure, to the best of my ability, that it is at room temperature. So it cooks evenly based on the timings that I have given you. If not, you have to adjust it and experiment. You also have to understand that different ovens, whether it's convection, direct heat, whatever, you know, their heat ranges. And so 200 degrees for me might not be 200 degrees for you. You need to use, well, I like to have an oven thermometer that I use to gauge the temperature of the oven. And that allows me to know, for whatever oven I'm working with, that this is right for this and this is right for that. Oh my God, the smells, the smells. I am not gonna waste a bite of this stuff. Those mushrooms have caramelized beautifully. They've almost shrunk by half, and that's okay. That means they've concentrated in flavor. And I think we are done. What I'm gonna do is just wipe that up a little bit. I'm gonna take a spoon and scoop up all those beautiful juices and drizzle them all over the chicken. Just gonna move, you see these palm fronds? I mean, palm fronds, there's no palm. Some thyme sprigs in here. Gonna remove those. They are inedible, they're fibrous. Gonna move that mushroom over here just because I like the way it looks. When we're back, I'm gonna be spooning this sauce over the chicken, the vegetables, and we're good to go. Now I've scooped up all those beautiful juices and I'm gonna give it a mix. I'm gonna pour them over the vegetables, and look, immediately you get this beautiful shine right over there. Why not? Let's get it over the chicken as well, right? Gives it a nice glossy finish. And that is my roast chicken with zucchini, potatoes, mushroom. But I'm not done yet. Just a sprig of thyme, just in the middle there. Lovely. That chicken is ready to be eaten, ladies and gentlemen. And this you gotta make. Hope you have a blessed Ramadan, and remember, stay blessed, stay grateful, stay safe, and most of all, make sure you're staying to cook this chicken. See you next episode.